Hello, I'm Nobby Clark. Welcome to my workshop. I was very lucky a couple of years ago to be bought a wonderful present by my wife. It was a kit to build the Myfordboy Engine. That's this beautiful engine here. The kit only comprises basically two castings. Obviously items that I could never make myself. The castings are the flywheel and the engine frame. The engine frame's an aluminium casting, and the flywheel is an aluminium and zinc casting. Zinc to give you a little bit more weight and body to the flywheel. All the other components you supply the material for yourself. Mixture of brass, stock, steel, and all the fastenings, which obviously you can buy on eBay quite easily. It also comes with an excellent set of very easy to follow plans. There's 12 sheets of plans, and I think it's 7 sheets of build notes as well. Before starting the build, I would recommend that you photocopy the plans, because as you see, I've made lots of pencil notes all over the plans here, and they've got filthy dirty, cups of coffee on them and so forth. So not to destroy the original ones that Myfordboy supplies with the kit. Well worthwhile to have a separate set. Myfordboy's aka David Abbott, he's an excellent machinist, a fantastic man at casting aluminium. He's sort of really renowned for that, and his channel is really worth watching. He designs and makes the most wonderful engines. A lot of the engines he makes are actually also available from him in kit form. This is only the second engine I've built since I set up my workshop. My workshop was literally only set up in 2016, and that's really as far back as my knowledge of engineering or amateur engineering runs. The first engine I actually built was in 2016 when my workshop was built for me, and that's this little engine here. It's an oscillating engine, also known as a wobbler engine, and it's from the design from Mr. Pete Tubalcain. I'm sure most people that watch YouTube channels will be very familiar with Mr. Pete. He calls himself the workshop teacher, and I've learnt so much from him over the years. When I got interested in model engineering and workshop practice only really 6 years ago, I watched his channel and went back through a lot of his very early videos as well, and I've learnt so much from him and so many other YouTube people as well. His channel is probably one of the best on YouTube for learning all the things you just really need to know about operating in a workshop and working safely in a workshop as well. David Abbott also on Myfordboy's channel has about, I think it's about 9 videos on the build of this engine, which is also a useful addition to the build notes that he supplies with the kit. I went through his videos a couple of times to see the methods he used in actually making each individual part. The only part that I did struggle with, oddly enough, is the cylinder here. and the valve chest here are actually two parts that are soldered together. That was actually the most difficult thing I found to do. I'm not very good at soldering at all, and I did find that rather difficult. I scrapped the first attempt and had to clean all the solder off and then have a second go at it, and eventually I got it to work fine, but that was for me quite difficult. But perseverance obviously paid out here. Another channel I would strongly recommend relating to the Myfordboy engine is Emma Ritson. Emma Ritson in Australia, her channel is absolutely fantastic. She's an extremely competent engineer. I think she comes from an engineering background, although I believe her trade is in watch and clock repairing. She bought one of these engines from Myfordboy, had it posted out to Australia for her, and she put out, actually I think it's 15 videos on the build of this. Well worth watching, because Emma's means of machining this are different. I'm lucky in that I have a mini mill and a mini lathe, so I was easily able to make the various parts here. Emma at that point didn't have a milling machine, so all the milling work was done on her lathe. So it's an alternative way to seeing how she approached making all the parts for the engine itself. I have since building the Myfordboy engine made, I think it's about 3 other engines, which I will show you at a later date. Most of these were made during lockdown, where I couldn't get out and about very easily, rather worried about mixing with people, really because of personal illnesses and being quite elderly. So I was able to spend a fair bit of time in the workshop, but I promise I'll show you those other engines at some other time. I'm currently working on another version of the Myfordboy engine. His engine it is quite an expensive kit, really. I mean, I didn't have to pay for this, my wife bought it as a present, but I wanted to do a similar engine to the Myfordboy engine. As I already have the plans, I could use these again. I managed to buy on the internet a cast iron flywheel. This was made by a company in the Midlands who make cast iron fireplaces and similar products to that, and they've obviously found a market for making small flywheels for model engineers. It comes as a bare cast thing. You have to machine it to size and machine the edges here and the centre. Obviously drill and ream the centre hole, do a bit of fettling around inside here with a file, and you can just sort of paint this to make it look nice and smart. I guess the difficult thing for me to make was the engine frame. I don't think I could ever do any metal casting. I've not really got the facilities at home to do this. I don't think I would be very confident working with hot metals and so forth. So I copied the frame shape basically, and I made it out of some individual parts. So the engine frame is quite similar to David's design. This part was all machined out of a solid piece of aluminium. Many hours of work involved in doing it, and then I fixed these 2 plates on here, and it's to the same dimensions as the Myfordboy engine, so that I could use the plans as a guide to making all the other parts. I've only made a few parts so far. The engine frame, I've made one of the bearings, and that's ready to be press fitted into here. I have still got the other side to make. and I've made a couple of the parts made out of mild steel. These just the matter of marking out and cutting with a hacksaw and filing into shape. This was machined on the lathe, setting up in a 4-jaw chuck, and cutting this very, very carefully to get an accurate size to it. And I also made this part here as well. This is actually a silver steel rod. Silver steel or similar material could be used. It could be made out of brass. Silver steel is known in the States as drill rod, to make that a nice fit onto the flywheel. The flywheel had just one more job to do, is to drill and tap a hole to put a set screw or grub screw into here. So still quite a few bits and pieces to make, but it's the thing that, I mean, even making the Myfordboy engine, that was, you know, made over a course of quite a number of months, coming into the workshop whenever I could, and making, you know, perhaps even just one part per day. You can spread the work out, which, you know, adds to the enjoyment of making it. Well, anyway, thank you very much for joining me again in the workshop. I hope to produce some more videos in the future, and at some point I will show you some of the other engines that I've made since then. Thank you very much. Bye for now.